What's going on, folks? Adrian here. Welcome back to the channel for a weekend MMO news drop. Let's get straight to it, beginning with a newly announced MMO called Palia. Palia is being made by developer Singularity 6, consisting of former developers from Blizzard, Epic, and Riot Games. Palia is apparently going to be a new community sim type of MMO, which is equal parts World of Warcraft and Stardew Valley, which is an interesting mix to say the least. IGN did a cover on Palia that suggests they're looking for an Animal Crossing type of experience, where interaction with other players is totally optional and the game can be played solo. No dates or anything at the moment, which means it'll be a long time before we see this in a playable state. Moving on, there are some details about the League of Legends MMORPG from last week on social media, but not the kind we were expecting. It's more conceptual, really. The vice president of Riot, Greg Street, took to Twitter to say that players are probably not going to like some choices being made for the unannounced MMO. That's pretty cryptic, and I wonder what he could be alluding to, looking at the current MMO landscape where players do make their voices heard about plenty of things, be it monetization systems, cash store, combat, pay to win, etc. But look, at the end of the day, MMO developers cannot and will never please everyone with whatever choices they make. So let's see some gameplay first. What do you think he's talking about? In Guild Wars 2, the 2021 summer roadmap plans are underway, and if you're new or returning to Guild Wars 2, take note that currently a Return to Living World Season 2 event is underway, where every week 2 episodes are given out for free, and there's new achievements to hunt, which is part of a new meta achievement that offers legendary rewards on completion. We are currently at the second week of the return, and the next freebie episodes will arrive this coming Tuesday. Don't miss out on free content. Next, Ashes of Creation, and we're at the start of the preliminary Alpha 1 tests, but visual NDA is still up, with the broader Alpha 1 tests coming later this summer. Anyway, Intrepid Studios have shared a lengthy early look at Siege gameplay from the Alpha 1 preview, and I had a blast just soaking in what's going on, and I highly recommend that those of you who are interested in this game to check it out, as you'll get a better idea of where the game is at from a technical standpoint. Up next, it's crunch time for Amazon's New World MMORPG, folks, and I can't help but be excited for it. It's the biggest new game launch this year, coming from a big-named studio, and we're only a month away from the pre-order beta. As for news, the past few weeks have been full of them, from a preview of the in-game cash store on the official website to more changes to the game's mechanics that's currently testable in the alpha. What's more, Amazon has been putting out these tour diary videos about the locations found on the world of Eternum, and the latest one features Mourningdale. If you haven't seen it, check it out and watch the other tour videos as well. Let's check in on the Black Desert franchise now, where some good news is brewing. First up, Prolobis is expanding in the West with a new office in Amsterdam and in LA, where both offices will function to service the North American and EU games with regard to live ops, server infrastructure, and localization, among other things. Great, but what about Black Desert? Well, this past week, Prolobis announced that the first ever co-op dungeon for Black Desert, known as ArcheAge, will be launching this summer for PC and console. ArcheAge requires players to work together to solve various puzzles scattered across the map, face different combinations of ancient weapons and enemies, and navigate special obstacles throughout the dungeon. Although it is a dungeon, its size is almost comparable to a region apparently. ArcheAge is divided into 4 parts and planned for release in the following order: Desert, Ocean, Canyon, and Forest, and the dungeon's difficulty will increase with each release. Onward we go to a quick update for Gamigo's ArcheAge and ArcheAge Unchained, where a short preview snippet posted on Facebook has hinted that a new summer update is coming on the 10th of June, featuring Gunslinger Ancestrals, changes to Crimson and Grimgas rifts, and much more. More details will be released in the coming days. We got Bless Unleashed PC news up next, and this past week, head of development Covent Park posted some updates on Steam, where the MMORPG is due to launch soon. In summary, players have made their feedback loud and clear, and changes are coming after the last round of beta to things like the UI and layout, quality of life in-game, and the combat experience. Note, all of these things have been brought up as issues since the very first beta, which launched late last year, and having played in all 3 since, I still think it needs a lot of work. Anyway, the final and most important bit of the update is that the official launch date has been delayed to mid-July, where hopefully all the intended improvements have been implemented. On to free-to-play MMORPG Neverwinter next, where a new Bard class has been revealed. This is pretty significant for the game because the Bard class will be the first new class to join the Dungeons & Dragons free-to-play MMO since the Oathbound Paladin class was introduced back in 2016. Players will be able to be Songblades and Minstrels, the two choices of their Paragon paths. As for when it's coming, the Bard will launch alongside a new module which will be arriving later this year. Now, speaking of new content, the final part of the Sharandar update, Episode 3, the Odious Court, will go live for PC players on June the 8th. Fans of Realm vs. Realm, get ready because the MMO known as Crowfall, the Throne War PvP game, will officially launch a month from now on the 6th of July 2021. If you've never heard of Crowfall, simply put, its design since conception is to cater to hungry PvPers who enjoy RVR gameplay, offering several realms with different rule sets that you can freely move between to and fro to compete with your friends and guilds. It's pretty fun if you've got a group to play with, so if that sounds good, mark your calendars and you can already jump into the beta, which is currently ongoing. As for something new, we've got ODIN VALHALLA Rising, and you've probably heard this one before. Well, it is launching in South Korea on the 29th of June for PC and mobile. Filled with Norse mythology, which will be reflected in the game's classes, the content, and more, ODIN VALHALLA Rising runs on Unreal Engine 4, and unfortunately no dates have been set for a Western release at the moment. Moving on, if there's any SKYFORGE players on console, hey, good news. My.Games has released a new free update this past week for console players called Hunters of TERRA. It contains the new Bounty Hunter class, which wields a handheld mortar and specializes in AoE damage. Players can also delve into a new PvE dungeon known as the Ancient Trails, in addition to the new 3-player adventure, the Terran Rift, to beat back the horde of mechanoids within. In the mobile MMORPG section, before we wrap this video up, a new game has hit the App Store and Google Play this past week from Neocraft called Guardians of Claudia. This mobile fantasy MMO allows you to pick from 5 classes, which has their own unique pets that enhances the combat of said classes through synergy attacks and more. It's got a full PvE campaign to play through on top of PvP, so check it out for free on your devices if you're interested. And that's all I've got for now, folks. Stay tuned for more. As usual, if there's a piece of news for a game you play that's not covered here, do share what's going on with the rest of us down in the comments below. Hit the like button for the love of MMOs, and feel free to subscribe to the channel for more on MMOs. Once again, I'm Adrian, and I thank you for watching.